That. Even though I have a note, that doesn't mean that I'll see it in time. All right, welcome everybody. This is Global Masterclass number 2, and I am Phoenix Rising Star. Thank you so much for being here. Some of you had just joined this series and so maybe have missed the first Global Masterclass, but don't worry. I'll be sending you a recording link for that as well when I send the recording link from today. So you can binge watch everything at the same time. And even if you were there live or if you've seen the recording once from number 1, and even from today, when you get the link, you may want to revisit both of them. And I say that because each masterclass that we're doing is a vibrational frequency. It's a particular vibrational frequency that comes through for you. So therefore you're growing and changing and shifting automatically just by experiencing it, whether it's live or on the recording. And because it's a permanent change, the next time you go back to it, you're going to be a different person. So you may have different results. You may perceive different things, either things that you hear or see or sense or know. So these are like the gifts that keep on giving. So I would encourage you to go back to number 1 and then repeat this one too when you get a chance, when you're doing your binge watching or whatever, because you'll get more out of it each time. That's just how it is. Okay, I see Grace is here too. Grace, hello. Just checking in with my team leaders. Where are you, Grace? Unmute yourself and say hello.
I'm right here.
Yay,
Hello.
there she is. Thank you so much. And thank you for
Hi,
sending me
everybody.
your free call link. I appreciate
Thank
that.
you.
And then we've got Cynthia here too. I'll have you guys introduce yourselves in a little bit more fully, but I just wanted to make sure you were all here. So Cynthia, say hello, get your energy into the mix here.
Hello, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here. Such a pleasure to see everyone.
I know, isn't this exciting? And if you'll just send me your free call link when you get a chance, Cynthia, I
Okay.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'll be using those and sharing those as I'll talk about that more in a minute. Okay, just checking in. Wow, we've got a really nice group today. So if you are interested in being possibly chosen for the love seat today, go ahead and put your name in the chat. You could add that name in the chat anytime, like if you want to see what one looks like before you add your name, I totally get it. But if you are interested in seeing how you can further shift your gifts or whatever burning question has come up for you, then put your name in the chat and we'll talk about that in just a minute. Okay, I talked about the first global masterclass, and again, I just want to reiterate that that was a really powerful beginning to our series, and it follows the basic 3-step process that I do for absolutely everything. The first step is opening to your guidance, and so that's what we were doing. We were opening up to our guidance of our future self, who has already been through everything we've been through and has all the answers. And that future self was helping us with 2 key words to understand the big picture of our gifts and then further suggest some changes or ideas in whatever ways that might come through you. And then finally, to give you a gift to help you remember who you are and why you're here. Very auspicious, very profound. People went very deep. I can tell because when people don't come back right away, that means they're in a really deep place, and that's good. That's where you need it to be. Even if you don't remember anything from that, don't worry, you can go back and repeat that, and I'll be sending that recording link to you. But that's the necessary foundation. That's our necessary first step for everything we do. We open up to the guidance to see what is our guidance saying. The second step that is so necessary is what we're doing today and Thursday when we're healing whatever comes up. Because what can happen is many times our guidance, who has this beautiful big picture of us and our soul and our gifts, and it comes up with an idea that is so terrorizing to us. We're like, no way, I can't do that. I don't know how to do that. What are you asking me to do that for? And so That's why this step is so important so we can heal what comes up, right? Because some of the fear is rooted in maybe some trauma or our belief systems or emotions from this lifetime and all of our experiences in this lifetime. But some of it is rooted in past lifetimes that we've brought that information forward in our DNA. That can be healed and it can be healed today. And some of it may be ancestral trauma, what your ancestors dealt with. You know, we were just talking before many of you were on the call, we were talking about World War II was probably the last time that as a world we were so engaged with the same worries, fears, concerns. And as such, you know, it brings up some ancestral trauma. My parents were in World War II. My dad served overseas. My mom was back at home. She was doing her thing. And so when they were talking about it, you know, there was a lot of fear, uncertainty, not knowing how long things were going to go. And that's kind of where we are now. And I firmly believe that's why we started hoarding toilet paper so quickly, because there was a part of us in our ancestral memory that said, oh, wait a minute, there wasn't enough of that at one time. That wasn't pretty. So we want to make sure we have enough. So that's how all this can happen. You know, we react. We don't even realize why why we are reacting in the way we are. But all of these things can get in our way of bringing our gifts to the world and stepping into our leadership. So it's essential that unless we heal this, we will not be able to move forward, right? We want to be able to move forward. We want to be able to share our gifts and our leadership with as many people as possible. The only way to do that is to heal what comes up. So that's why we have the love seats. So what's a love seat? Well, the first time I was doing this for a live group that had not experienced it, I could just see in some of the you know, I get little mini pictures of you at the top of the screen there, and some of you were like looking at me in horror, like, oh no, what is that going to be like? Because if you've ever been on the hot seat for anything, like, you know, memories of being in school where you were chosen to do something and you didn't know if you knew how to do it, it was like really scary and awful, and maybe you even felt humiliation. That's not what we do. What we're doing is we're stepping into a deep state of love. And when I say we, I was talking to some 4 of the 5 team leaders from the Healing Angel Protocol. And these team leaders have really embodied and embraced how to be what we call the hollow bone of healing. And the hollow bone of healing is that place of everything, and it's the place of nothing. So it's everything because source energy is working through us to bring the messages, bring the healing, bring whatever the person in the love seat is needing. And of course, everybody in the audience benefits from that. And it's the place of nothing because we're not doing anything. There's no techniques to really learn. It's about being. It's a state of consciousness that is a way of being, right? And it comes through us and then we share it. And it's a most profound place of being. And it really starts from being in that place in your heart. Because if we're not in our heart, we can't be that hollow bone. So it all starts there. And these team leaders have really brought this to a new level, in my opinion. So they are just fabulous at embodying and embracing this. And I believe that the help and support that you are going to receive from today and from Thursday is invaluable. Whether you are chosen for the love seat or whether you are in the audience, you will feel the love. It's all done from love. None of it is shame and blame. We don't do shame and blame. We don't believe in shame and blame. We heal shame and blame, right? We do everything from a state of love. And honestly, I believe that this is the source of all of our creations. All of our gifts come from love, and all of our sharing of our gifts needs to come from love. Otherwise, it's not going to impact as many people, help them go as deep and as far as they can, and make a bigger difference in the world. So that's what it's all about. That's why step number 2 is so essential. And that's why this global masterclass today and Thursday is so essential. Whew. Okay, now that you understand that, go ahead and put your name in the chat. If you think, oh, no, I could do that. Yeah, maybe I'd volunteer for that. We're going to let the angels choose 5 people from today who are volunteering from the list of volunteers, and then we'll choose a different 5 on Thursday. So you can attend both, and I would encourage you to. Here's the other thing. You guys are a really select group, right? So we're not just getting anybody from, everywhere with all kinds of ideas and questions and burning questions. We're getting you because you chose to be here to help shift your gifts at this time. So chances are all the questions are going to be around that, or a burning question that can, it could also be personal, that might be something that might get in your way. Like maybe a question about your health or your relationships or your career or your next step on your path, that kind of thing. So all of these things are going to be helping everybody, right? Because we are that select group with the same kind of mindful um, intent for being here. Let me put it that way. So if you are chosen for the love seat, please phrase your question as an open-ended question, like, what is my next step on my path? Or I was getting this message in my guidance and I don't know what that could mean. And so, those are really good open-ended questions. An example of a question you don't want to give is, or ask is, will I win the lottery? First of all, we don't do lottery questions, but second of all, it's a yes, no question. And yes, no questions, if you want the highest and best from source energy, don't ask a yes, no question, because you get a yes or a no and then it's done. But if you want the highest and best and you want everything that's possible for you, ask an open-ended question so source can come at it from several different ways. Now, sometimes, and it's kind of a surprise when it happens, but sometimes your question will be indirectly answered, not directly answered, right? And an example of this is I was working with a client who was working on a real burning, deep personal issue. And everything that came in was more about approaching it from maybe a chakra standpoint, a spinal alignment, some past life trauma. And so it didn't appear at first that her question was being directly answered. But when you looked at all the results that were coming in, all these things needed to be cleared before anything else could be dealt with. And so sometimes, because we're asking for the highest and best, sometimes you're going to get a way of answering that you didn't expect, but it's always perfect. We ask for the highest and best. We only ask and work with the highest and best, and that's what comes through. Okay, if you have any questions, please unmute yourself or put it in the chat so that I can get that. And I'm going to, while you're doing that, I'm going to turn this over to the team leaders and have them start to introduce themselves, because each one of them has a huge transformational story to share with you. And I asked them to share that so that they can inspire you to know that transformation isn't just for a few people, it's for everybody. And it's just about intention, commitment, and following these 3 steps, basically. So, there you go. In my opinion, that's all it takes. So let's start with Ayla, since you were the first one to join in this morning. Ayla, do you want to unmute yourself and introduce yourself?
Good morning. I'm Priestess Ayla. This is some of that being on the hot seat part, going first.
Sorry.
But I'm really excited for this. I see all the participation, and that's just wonderful. HAP is the new modality coming to the planet that I couldn't be more blessed to be part of and now educated in, and with the availability to teach it as well, because being in the holistic arts for, 35 plus years, I've tried a variety of things, and not that they haven't helped, but with the HAP, they moved things immediately, to where the other modalities, it was like a redundancy, or what really triggered is what you thought you cleared would surface again, and you'd be like, well, I just thought I dealt with that. And in the HAP, it's like, clearing it, first of all, finding that focus, clearing everything, and then just bringing everything into your reality was just beyond amazing, because I've done quite a bit within just the 2 years. I think the hardest part was finding that focus, because I was at one office here in Pueblo, Colorado, and although I did a variety of modalities, I was like, not organized. I was sporadic. And I remember, kind of dabbling in just if I could have a center and do it my way, it would be so much easier. And so that was like the vision, but you're kind of bombarded with the conditioning of, well, that takes a lot of money, that takes a lot of probably titles and documents and everything and, all legality, and you just become overwhelmed when the reality is it happened boom, boom, boom. And I went from like 1 room to 2 rooms to 8 rooms, and now we have a holistic center that is more than likely on point right now, because we've been doing this for a year now. And I kept thinking, oh, I don't understand. I've processed everything, I've cleared everything, I've healed everything, I have the vision, but I've come to realize, universe and angels, they do know what's in your best interest, and they're pretty much guiding and leading us through all of this. And so I've come to the conclusion that, we've created a lot throughout the year, but now we're set, and it's a timing thing, it's an alignment thing. And what better time than, coming out of this strange situation that many of us have never, experienced, or not in this lifetime anyway, but it seems so surreal. So the availability of different alternatives and people seeking different alternatives and resources to heal on a whole totality. Now you're going to have these centers, variety, throughout the whole planet that are needed and required and necessary. So I think a lot of my doubt there towards like the last few months was that there was a complete halt on the center, complete halt on participation, workshops and classes being provided. And now I see the bigger picture. I think we were coming to this gradually, but having the tools of HAP makes it so much more with ease and grace, knowing that there's alternatives and that you can get through it, and that, you really look at it through that of the eyes of angels, if you will, and see that everything's going to be okay as long as you keep tapped into those higher vibrations and those energies, and literally be in that hollow bone so you can receive everything that's needed and required and necessary for you as an individual, for your family, for the community, and then just beyond. So that's where I'm at, and I'm really excited for today, so that way others can experience, the miracles that come with the HAP, and just really start looking for different avenues, for creating a different life. I think that's the beautiful blessing of this pandemic, is we've been given the opportunity to just like take one huge breath, one huge vacation, and just really not worry about where you have to be, because you can't go anywhere but in your mind, and once you clear all that, then you realize how to get into your heart, and you're like, that's where the power is. Now I get it, and then you start operating off of that, and the gut instinct kicks in to where it's on a regular basis, and you're fine, and you'll get through life easily and not have to worry about where the next square toilet tissue's coming, or, if you're going to be fed, or the children are going to be taken care of, my pet's going to be all right. You will be okay through everything, because God, angels, universe, they're not malicious. People can be. But for the most part, if you're connected to bigger sources and different realms, you're going to be fine. They know before us. So I'm really excited for, people to experience that and just really be calm. You could see everything play out. You could see the panic people. You could see the ones that are still on the fence, and you could see the ones that are just like, okay, I'm taking this opportunity right now to get my life in order, to get things organized, to create a whole different way of living for my reality, because we know at least 3,000 years of how we've been doing it has not been working. So now we're going to try something different, but that we're empowered to do that. That's the beauty, learning that we are in the power to do that, especially when you got, beings in pure love and light helping us. We're going to be fine. We're going to be more than fine. So that's where I'm at. Thank you.
Thank you, Ayla. And I think, everybody who signed up for this series is in that front line saying, I got to do something different. I'm not waiting for the universe to tell me what to do. Well, I might be waiting for my angels, but I'm not waiting for the world to shift and then I know what I'm doing. I'm taking that step now because I can. So I so appreciate what you're saying and thank you very much for that. For some of those of you that have just joined us, if you are interested in being on the Love Seat, go ahead and put your name in. And I love what Flo said, rephrasing your question for the Love Seat so it's open-ended. What's for my highest and best? I really believe that you'll get more that you can work with by phrasing it that way, but it's up to you. So these, by putting your name in, what you're doing is letting the angels know that you are interested in being selected, and we'll be choosing 5 people. Right now, I'm having the team leaders from the Healing Angel Protocol, otherwise known as HAP, just because it's short. I'm having the team leaders who are going to be giving you that love seat introduce themselves. So that was Ayla. Next, let's hear from Flo because she was next to join us. So Flo, introduce yourself if you would.
Hello, everyone. I'm Flo, or Florence. I'm the artist in the group. Um, so a lot of what I do is, since I don't necessarily hear a lot of information, but I do see images or get ideas, because a lot of mine's based on just knowing without knowing how I know what I know. So I get a lot of those and I translate them. For me, the Healing Angel Protocol has been tremendous. I've been working on it probably a little over a year now. And I've created a 40-day meditation book, as well as I am currently working on a 366-day meditation book. So that means I am doing a session basically with myself, because we have to receive our own healing first before we can help anybody else. So it's kind of like a double bonus. You guys get the love seat, but we get healing as well. So it's kind of a win-win for everybody. But I've been doing this every day consistently without fail. So, I mean, this was yesterday's, just to kind of give you an idea of a rock skipping across the lake. Um, so, I mean, I do these and I've got so far, today is day 170. So, yes, it's kind of amazing fun, but it really lets you step in and learn how to trust yourself, how to love yourself, and know that whatever you get is perfect. Even if you may not necessarily understand what it means right that minute, the answers do come later. And it's like almost like an aha moment. It's like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that this was what's holding me back. So when you can get that and just take that, and it's like you're empowered to make that next decision, you really step into owning that. And I'm excited to actually start being able to teach this, because it's helped me tremendously. So I know the power it can have in general, even whether it's a group setting or whether it's one-on-one. It's just absolutely amazing. I even work at Temple Beautiful as well with Ayla, and I had, before this all started, doing meditation and creation events where I would lead everyone in a meditation and then help them create the images that they saw. So even though you may not think that you're creative, everyone has the ability to create, and it doesn't matter what it looks like, whether it's an art piece or whether it's stick figures, because I do those too, to creating the way you want your life to look. It's absolutely just amazing to have this happen and to be a part of. So thank you, Phoenix.
Wow. Thank you, Flo. And I'm loving your pictures behind you there. They're really amazing.
Yes, that is actually of Bell Rock, and I
Yes.
had done some painting on it, and that's actually a sunset from Sedona. So yes, with a
Wow.
heart painted on it. So yes,
Love it.
I've been experimenting in my art as an artist. So
Nice. Nice. Thank you so much.
thank you.
Okay. Grace of Sedona.
Hello, everyone. I'm Grace. When Phoenix had said to ask us, our transformational story, she always tells me, kind of limit it to 3 minutes because there's so much about this that I could talk for hours, because that's just, it's true. It's hard to pick one thing that the Healing Angel Protocol, this process, has done for me personally, to just share snippets. It helped me commit to my fullest healing, not so much healing, but my fullest emergence from how my life was created before, allowing, familial influence and the influence of the world, and to really step forward and to decide what type of life I wanted to live, how I wanted to feel, what I wanted my life to look like. And one of that was, in 2007, I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis at the age of 30, which, is life-changing as it was. And as I've gone through the process of having it, understanding it, living with it, multiple surgeries with it, I realized its gift, as well as realizing at this point, the Healing Angel Protocol helped me see I didn't need it any longer to further my healing. It brought me here, but I don't need it anymore. So I decided, with the help of the angels one day, that, you know what, I'm done. I'm done with the RA. I'm done with the autoimmune issues. I don't need it anymore to keep me moving forward into my path, my light, whatever my authenticity is. And and so the angels had said 10 sessions. And so me, and it was the first group, as well as some of the, from the other classes, I said, okay, this is what I need. I need 10 sessions, and everybody kind of rallied behind me. And we're not even done the 10 sessions. We've only done like 6. And since October of last year, I have been undetectable. It's gone. My blood work is normalized. All of my things have normalized. I went, because I just recently had a surgery, I went 4 or 5 months without any type of medication. My blood work stays normal. My immune system stayed normal. Everything, all my blood chemistry just normalized. And my blood chemistry is never normal. And everything just kind of evened out. And my rheumatologist, first of all, was like, how did you do that? And I'm like, well, let me tell you. And I'm grateful that he's very open to that type of, of me looking at this from, and not just a physical, but a spiritual, an emotional, a mental standpoint. And to really step into that, he says, whatever you're doing, please keep doing it. He says, because I've never seen this before. And my type of autoimmune was called seropositive. It's the most aggressive form of rheumatoid arthritis you can have. The chances of it going into remission is like 0.0000005%. Nobody ever, usually it's very rare that somebody goes into remission with this type of rheumatoid arthritis. So to have stepped into that and to realize in acceptance of it, how I manifested it, because I did, with my thought processes and my emotions and the way they were at that moment, it was my wake-up call. It was my, no, stop, this isn't working. And my body just reacted to everything I was putting into the universe. And it was just, I just brought that in. And, and because usually people say, oh, it's genetic. Well, it's not, because no one in my family has it. So it's not something that I think is genetic. I think we manifest it via thoughts and emotions. So to have achieved remission, it's that state of, oh, I can do this. I can step forward into the world in my own power without needing something that I feel it held me back. It started to hold me back from doing the things I love to do, the things I want to do. And I don't know any other modality that can do this. I don't know any other way of life. I don't even like calling it a modality, because it's not just a tool. It's how we live our lives. It's how every day we're using this. Every day we're stepping into that state of love, whether it's because we want to get messages in the morning of what to focus on, or in the evening to kind of help us redirect, or kind of whatever reason we're using it on the daily. And that in itself is truly profound, because it takes our anxiety level, which many of us suffer through anxiety because whether it's anxiety about what's happening in the world, whether it's anxiety about our own home life, our work life, whatever it is, it takes that anxiety and it helps neutralize it. In a sense, it's like, oh, I have a tool. You have an immediate tool that can help bring you from, 11 to 10 or to 1. It's so essential. I don't know how we could manage through life without it. And 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 for me, I think it'll lend you the possibility of how do you want to create your life? How do you want to step into your light? What do you want your life to look like? And having the power to create it, having the resource to give you the information that says, oh, the angels are telling me this and I'm feeling this, and maybe I need to clear that. Maybe that's preventing me from stepping into my, my truest life. And having that tool is like, it is like winning the lottery. How can I win the lottery? You do this. So that's my experience with Healing Angel Protocol. And and collectively, like Ayla and Flo, and I know like Cynthia is going to say, it truly is, we've been given an opportunity right now to say, to kind of ponder that. And I feel that if we have been given a pause, a great giant pause, why not take your energy and effort into something that's going to help you come out of this on the other side in a better way, in a better frame of mind, in a better frame of heart, connecting that heart and that head process, making, creating that dynamic life that you want to create, or beginning the process of it. So I hope that was short enough.
That's perfect.
I could talk forever. Thank you, everybody.
That was perfect, Grace, because I, you couldn't have left anything out. It was all important and it was all essential, and it just, yeah, I couldn't agree more. The tools for where we are right now, no matter where we are. So thank you, Cynthia.
Oh, well, hello, everyone. I am speaking to you from Tampa, Florida. And my colleagues in the Healing Angel Protocol, they all know that I came into the Healing Angel Protocol from a very scientific background. Before I was ever doing anything related to energy therapies, which I started learning in 2005. I was first a molecular biologist, and then I went to medical school, became a psychiatrist. And it's one of one of my little pet peeves I always used to say is like, oh, don't call me a prescriber. I didn't go to medical school to prescribe, medications. I mean, I do, but that's not the end all be all for me. I have always wanted to position myself in a position to literally be that translator for the people that I see, the translator that helps to explain the circumstances, the emotions, whether we're talking a physical illness, the way Grace described, or whether we're talking an emotion, but to take those events and to translate them as a language from our soul so that we understand their purpose. Because once we understand their purpose in our lives, why they're there, we then no longer have to experience them. So there's a certain liberation in finding that kernel of wisdom in all of our experiences. And the Healing Angel Protocol has been the most magnificent tool. And I hate to even call it a tool, but it's been the most magnificent modality that has helped so many people cut through those layers. And when we are truly ready to move on, to move past what has not been working for us, the results in a Healing Angel Protocol session sometimes far exceed what one can experience in doing years of psychotherapy, because it's just that direct. And it's that direct because what we are utilizing is our connection to the divine, that life force that surrounds us all, whatever name you wish to ascribe to that energy, but the divine in so many aspects. And to me, that has been one of the most profound elements of the Healing Angel Protocol for me personally, is to have created this wonderful relationship with all aspects of the divine, from the angelic realm to ascended masters to communing with nature and nature spirits, to the force of the elements, to all of the love and light that surrounds us, that is very much as animated and real as we are. And, we talk about the Healing Angel Protocol, sometimes we refer to it as a tool, but several of my colleagues have mentioned it isn't a tool, it's a shift in our consciousness. Because once you experience it and once you allow that opening, you can't go back to the way that you were. And I think that you'll find you don't want to, because it's so much a reflection of the authenticity, the reason why you came here, the reason why you came into being. And that was not to experience and to settle for any form of limitation in your life. It was to thrive. And that is something that the Healing Angel Protocol allows you to do, to thrive. And as I've listened to, to all of the explanations to what this means to each of us as team leaders, I have to have my little scientific, background, but also that purely spiritual union, to say that when we are in that hollow bone state and when you are experiencing the Healing Angel Protocol, allowing in that love means that our heart is the canvas, and everything that you have within it that you've ever wanted to do, that you've wanted to achieve, the healing and the positive things that you want for the people that you love. If our heart is that canvas, then that love that we bring in from the divine is the medium through which that becomes manifest in your life. And I think that each of you will see that whether you're chosen for the love seat or not, you won't walk away from this call unaffected. And that's just how powerful it is. So that's my testimony to the Healing Angel Protocol.
Wow. Oof. My goodness. Thank you, Cynthia. Every one of these team leaders, you can see why why they're team leaders. They have not only their profound stories, but they're just in a profound state of love, just in their speaking. That's just where they're at all the time. And they're amazing people to work with. Now, I see that Misty Dickerson has a question. You have your hand up. So, Misty, why don't you unmute yourself, and I'll see if I can figure out how to lower your hand. There we go. So, Misty, what's your question? There she is.
So I really, when my dad passes, which I don't want him to pass, but when he does, I would love to get out of this town.
Okay, all right. Let me hold you for just a second here. We're not choosing for the love seat just yet. I thought maybe you had a question pertaining to everything. So
I miss everybody.
Okay, so, and also, Misty, I don't know if you could see on the chat, but I think it was Flo that maybe suggested looking at your question from a broader perspective to allow you to get a better foundation of answers for you. Were you able to see that?
Yeah, I was able to see that, but I thought it was more specific than I guess I was.
You can, it's okay to be specific like that. I'm just saying that if you want the highest and best, be more open-ended.
You got it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. And I think that was probably helpful for everybody on the call. Okay. All right. So what we're going to do is I've got a list. Does everybody have their name in if you are interested in the love seat? And of course, you can always add it in later. I've got a pretty good list going of people that were volunteering. So I'm just going to close my eyes and ask the angels to just choose one from the list, and that person will have a chance to share their open-ended question, and then the team leaders and I will all go into that hollow bone state. Uh, and it's really about just closing our eyes and stepping into a love state. And then whoever's ready will be able to share their messages and possibly any healing that might come through. It's always for the highest and best. So that's our intention. And it's also our intention that everybody in the audience benefits from this as well, for all the reasons we have stated. Thank you guys for being so willing to go the extra mile to heal what comes up so that you can reach more people and impact the world in a bigger way and in maybe possibly new ways or different ways. So thank you for that. Okay, I'm just going to put my hand on the list and kind of where my finger stops. That's where the angels want to have first. And Misty, I mean, what are the odds? Oh my God, that is too funny.
It's my turn. That's so sweet.
This is your turn. Don't turn it down. The angels are really pushing you today, Misty. So, okay.
Because I'm so powerful.
Well, that must be it.
So my question, my beautiful, beautiful friends and family and angels, will I someday, may I please get out of this town? Amen.
Is that a yes/no question, Misty?
No, no. I don't think, I guess so. I don't know.
Okay, so a
I
yes/no.
feel it in my bones. I feel it in my bones. I'm just hoping that I'm right.
Okay. Can I help you just a little bit with a question so that
Yes.
you can get more out of this?
A better Jeopardy. Yes, please.
Okay, all right. So it sounds like there's a part of you that's really wanting to move, and you're just wondering what would be the situations under which you might be able to move. Would that
Yes.
be? Okay, let's go with that one.
I just don't know Alpha. Dear Darla. I hate, sorry.
Okay, all right. And then Cynthia has, to what extent does my inner knowing reflect my desire to move? If that sounds better for you, you choose whatever you want.
Oh, do I have to ask it again? Holy cow. I don't know how to answer. My angel, will you guide me and I trust you enough when it's time to move?
Well, we'll work with what you've got.
Sorry, I'm a mess, you guys. That's why I'm here, because I'm a mess.
You're not a mess, but let's just leave it open-ended. And your desire to move will be, in what ways will
Thank
your
you.
desire to move be
Thank
supported?
you, family.
How's that?
Thank you, family. Thank you.
Okay. All right, we're going to turn this over to the team leaders now and just let them go into their loving state of being. And when they're ready, they'll unmute and share with you what's coming through. So I invite you as an audience member to just kind of sit in a loving state to the best of your abilities too, because that will help everyone and it will help us all to be in that highest place of not just love, but of all things, all truth, all knowing.
Okay, Misty. Angel Michael came in. He is he is surrounding you in his light, and comfort. He's sending love directly into your heart, and he's asking that you explore the reasons for resisting and how you react to it and why, in a sense of resisting accepting where you're at in wherever, I think you live in Colorado. Because he's saying that idea of what resists persists, and he's hoping that you see that when we come to acceptance, when you get to that level of acceptance, then that's when you're free to move.
Okay.
There's a resistance within something within you, and it's not even so much about where you live, it's about you yourself. There's something that you're not connecting with your inner being, with yourself, that you're hesitant maybe, and maybe not resistant, but hesitant in accepting. And when we have that resistance or hesitation into accepting that, we project it into the space we are in.
That's
It's
true.
more of an internal struggle that you're having, more so than where you're living. You may not like the town you live in, but that's more when you accept all of your inner being, or can work through and heal that struggle that's internal. Where you exist, where you're living, is moot point. It doesn't matter.
I love that. I love that. Thank you, Grace. I love that. Thank you. It's 100% million. Yeah, thank you, Archangel Michael.
I can share. Misty, I got an image for you of just kind of like open your heart up and kind of let the light come in, and then everything will be calm around it. So you just got to really just open up your heart to receive the loving light.
Thank you. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, both ladies. Thank you.
And Misty, it's amazing how in sync we all are. Well, we generally always are, but what I got for you was just this amazing shaft of gold Christ-like light that came into the top of your head, and that's where it focused, but then it bifurcated and it went to your heart. And for me, that is just the visual confirmation of everything that Grace and Flo just mentioned, because, and again, that Christ-like energy, you are about to go through your own resurrection. And part of that is the recognition of what part of you that you're resisting, the part that you're not accepting, because when you bring that into alignment with love, then you will be reborn again, and you will have choices that aren't open to you at the moment because there is that separation of self. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. Oh, Cynthia, thank you, my love. Oh,
My pleasure.
ladies, I needed, and I've had classes with Grace, and she worked on my heart. So I got to be working on my heart.
I think we still have Ayla too
Oh,
to hear from.
Yes, it's funny because Michael's energy is strong because he came through as well, but he had with him both the sword and what looked like what I thought was a cold cord, but it's probably some of what, Cynthia was seeing, more of like a lasso look to it. But the message was very clear as far as this transition, that resistant is a lot of what your new being will be, not your title. So you need to start getting busy to start finding something that, will replace what your title is now, because that's not what identifies you. What identifies you is your passion. And when you can be passionate about life in a whole totality, you could be anywhere on this planet you want to be. And so it's just a matter of finding a new way of living, a new way of transitioning, because your life will be your own here very soon, you know, when that time is needed and necessary. And it's time for Misty. And when we do that, that's when we can be within ourselves and really connect with these angels. So when I look at this, it's more about not cutting cords, because you've created a great foundation. It's more about using that sword to step into your power and cut away what no longer serves those titles anymore. And the gold lasso kind of energy, you know, that was confusing at first, but when I hear Cynthia, it ties in more to, it's more about just, you know, re-energizing a new being you will be, a new way of living, a new way of transitioning through this planet with a different energy, because you will no longer be as well. You will be different.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you, thank you, thank
You're
you.
most welcome.
So I need to get busy, get the work done now, so that when I do get a new title, resurrection, step into my power, I'll be ready.
Yes, you find your passion, you find your purpose. You find your purpose, you're living in your power.
Well, and Misty too, this is more of a global probably message for everybody on the call, but you know, it's not about doing these things so that you're ready. It's doing these things for now, right? Because this is what serves you now. And all of us, to some degree, in the last 2 months, 6 weeks to 2 months, have probably had some levels of resistance, you know, and you could call it whatever you want. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do it. I'm waiting, you know, that kind of thing. But the greater the resistance, however it appears, then the greater the shift you are getting ready to make. So that kind of encapsulates it for everybody. I think that we're all in that together, right? We're all feeling that. But this is the time to tap into that guidance, to heal what comes up, to step into your power now, not for later, but for now, if that makes sense.
Yes. Ladies, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you.
It was a lot of work, wasn't it? Thank you, Misty, for being so brave to be on and to ask your question a million different ways so you could get the best results, and so could everybody else. So thank you for that.
Patience. I love you. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank
Love
you,
you
thank you. Bye.
too. So one of the ways you can tell when a love seed is really working is by the reaction, you know, and not to say that if she would have had hands up going, no, 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 that would have meant it was all wrong. Sometimes we're not ready to hear what comes through, but usually on the love seed, you are ready for that depth of love and heart-to-heart transmission in the way that it's being presented to you. And you could tell she was excited. So therefore it was all resonating. Alrighty, I am going to choose, or the angels are going to guide my hand to choose another person. And this one is Catherine. So Catherine, can you unmute yourself and tell us what's going on that you would like some help with?
Wow, that's awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I knew what the question was, but so I am in transition as well, but I've done a lot of preparation for whatever is going to be coming. And I guess that's what it is. Like, what are the gifts and capacities that I'm not either recognizing or allowing? And what's next? How do I move forward? The two gifts that came were leadership and joy, and bringing the joy through the smile and radiating it through my being to others in the world and me. So I was sort of sitting with that, like, okay, what could that look like? What else? What else?
Beautiful. That's just beautifully put and open-ended, and so it will be very simple for for the source energy to help you with that in all the ways. So thank you, Catherine.
Well, thank you. I'm very grateful.
Yeah. So team leaders will go into their hearts, and it'll probably be a little faster now because the more you do it, you know, especially succinct like this and successive, then it's easier to step into that. And I just ask the audience to just hold that state of love. You're doing a great job. Thank you. If you've just joined us, we just had a second love seat question, and so we're now allowing source energy to move through us to answer that. And whoever's ready can go ahead and start from the team leaders.
Angel Ariel came in for you, Catherine. And it wasn't, there was less words, more like this big shining light, and like totally flooded my inner vision and surrounded you. And she really was focusing on your joy and seeing that that is how you step into leadership, by being in your joy, by spreading it, by giving it, by showing people how to have joy in all moments of life. And because joy, for a lot of people, they don't know what it feels like. They don't understand what that means. They think joy comes from the material side of life, where it can come from our heart and how to connect there. She showed this very yellow light, in a sense of that joy, that, because almost like sunflowers, she's bringing in that sense of that light and that shining, and that you being in that state of joy and sharing it, and learning how to lead people to their joy. That's your gift, and that's an essential gift to the world. Now, of course, everything comes with other gifts like intuition, you know, and whether you're clear audio, or you see or know, or however that comes to you, that's how that gift will be supported. But to stay in that space of joy and help those of us who need help stepping into our joy, understanding what joy may be, and helping us, lead us to it, lead us to our joy. And it's, you know, it's like, it's almost like that Christ-like energy of leading people. It's like, show them how to connect with it. Show the world en masse on how to reach that state of joy amidst anything, whether it's crisis, whether it's chaos, whether it's world pandemics, what it is. When you can step into that leadership, that's how you share your gifts. That's how you step into it, and into the world with that state, because joy is of the highest vibration. It is akin to love when it's coming from the heart, when it's coming from that space of love. Joy is that one of that highest vibrations. And the more that we can get people to connect globally, and even, you know, in our own small circles, it helps lift the consciousness of the universe, if that makes sense.
Thank you, Grace. It's beautiful.
Before we even went into the hollow bone, I got immediate energy of wise ones, you coming from lineage of many wise ones. I don't know how far, but wise ones, we'll just leave it at that. And with that is great leadership, but also is the responsibility. And the responsibility is heavy, and it can be heavy. But when Magdalene's energy comes through, she also brought the tetrahedron, which says a lot of what was in conditioning is going to be just no longer. So this is your availability to start reactivating all that knowledge and wisdom that has been in your lineage, because now will be a great time for that clarity and confusion to just subside more. The timing is now for many of the wise ones to come forward. And so you can't fear that. Deep down, you know that, but we are in different times now, so you will be okay and protected through that as well. But your bloodline and your lineage holds great, great wisdom, most definitely. So be proud of that and step forward, because it's very needed and necessary right now.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Catherine.
I can
Just have to. Okay.
Well, Catherine, for you, I got a box, but it was kind of like a Jack in the Box. It's like, but you're not quite open yet. You need to really just pop out of that box and share that joy and that love that you have for everyone. So that way you can really just spread it around. But you're getting there. You're just got to finish opening up that box to share.
Righty. And Catherine, one of the first things that came in was the tetrahedron, which in the Healing Angel Protocol is about a lot of times burning off the energy of things that no longer serve us. And in some ways, there may be some ancestral or genetic karma in the sense that I also saw like this military camp and you know this need for preparedness and what that does when we are constantly, and I'm saying this from a psychiatrist standpoint too, when we are constantly in a state of fight or flight, it draws upon our energy, it drains us, and it actually robs us of our joy. Because I feel like you are able to spread this to communities and to make such a huge difference, but there is a little bit of self-healing that does need to take place. And again, it is more ancestral. I was guided by Michael, interestingly, to I don't know if you like to spend time near water, because I saw this really gorgeous lake, had a very interesting shape to it. But I saw you kind of walking around that lake, and in that process, you were releasing some of the things that you're holding on to, but then also drawing upon its inspiration and its ability to, like water, to go with the flow of things. Because I think there's a certain perception, if you will, a certain, I need to be prepared, I have to have a plan, but you know, this joy as an essence is a natural part of you, so it is going to flow. You just have to allow it the opening, just like you know, flows Jack in the Box there. Yeah, you just have to allow that opening. Okay.
Yes, thank you. Yes, I love water.
Awesome.
Interesting that tetrahedron came up twice too, because that is a key piece of sacred geometry that activates our soul purpose. And so to bring this to a more global perspective for people on the call as well, you know, leadership doesn't have to take the form of politics or, you know, being the president of PTA. It can be inspiration. You know, you are inspiring others through your actions. And if you, down the road, I think there's probably a book, that at least one, you know, it might be the Chicken Soup for the Soul type of series where you're sharing joyful experiences, not just your own, but you're interviewing people for their joyful experiences, or how do they find joy, or how do they experience joy wherever they are, no matter what the circumstances. Prior to that, I think there could be even a blog, you know, where you're sharing wonderful videos that you find on YouTube, great pictures. Maybe that's where you start doing some of your interviews, and you're just putting yourself out there as the joyful mama, you know, who's just helping everybody to find their joy. And so this is a perfect example of how sharing our gifts with the world doesn't have to be turned into a business per se. It certainly could be, down the road with your book series or wherever you want to go with that, but it doesn't have to be. It can be simply sharing your gifts in the way that feels right for you. So, yeah, I agree with what everybody has said. There's a flow here. You're in it, and you don't have to worry about where it's going because it will guide you and direct you. So just tap into that spirit of joy and let it lead you. Does that help, Catherine?
Yes, that's wonderful because I am in a teaching and facilitating role already in
Perfect.
energy work and Reiki and all that. And it was kind of like, okay, well, what do I need to do with all of that? But I don't need to do anything.
No.
It will just show itself, and just to let go of the fear and the doubt.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm walking around a beautiful lake.
There we are. There
Thank
we
you
are.
so much,
Yes.
all of you. That was awesome, and I could feel everybody's contribution just being here as part of the whole circle. So thanks.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Okay, closing my eyes. Got to figure out where my list is. Okay, here's my list. All right, we're going to Scott.
Hello.
Hello.
All right, we're just going to keep it simple and let's go with physical issues that are that aren't let go yet.
And are you wanting help in letting them go, or are you wanting
Yes,
something else? Okay.
I want help
Thought I'd
letting
ask.
not needing them anymore.
Okay. All right. Well, here we go. We're all going to go into that state of love, and by now in the audience, you're probably also kind of figuring out how that state of love starts bringing you messages as well. And while I won't be asking you necessarily to share them, I just ask you to be open to that because it's a way of trusting, learning how to trust what comes through you. And I think it's an essential piece. I know it's an essential piece to being that hollow bone. So everybody can learn how to be the hollow bone, and I'll share that with you shortly. So, all right, let's just see what comes up.
Hi, Scott.
Hello.
Angel Michael came in, but right after that, Angel Raphael came in and like jumped in front of Michael and was like, "No, I'm here." And he was very clear. He was very much working with, of course, your crown chakra, but he was saying that there's an internal conversation that keeps that pain existing, or whatever the ailment is existing within your body. He also showed he brought in his team of angels, his worker angels, and they were working on some energy field points as well. There was some tears and some I guess like not holes, but like rips within the energy field of the physical, but as well as the emotional and mental. And they were sealing them up. I call it sparkle spackle because it's like that universal energy, and they were sealing it and beginning to heal those parts of the layers. Some of it was past life, some of it has been brought forward, it felt, and as well as just he was just very clear to get in touch with that space within that, the conversation that keeps that there, whether it's an internal monologue mentally, because he was very up in your brain, up in your head, suffusing it with light, and just to recognize that monologue that is continuing to keep those physical ailments present in your life. What are they doing for you that you're not willing to let them go? Yeah, That's and he's just like I said, he has his angels working in your energy field, and he's specifically in the head, in the brain area, and just suffusing it with light and energy and healing and love.
Thank you.
I could feel that. Thank you, Grace.
And Scott, you actually had two angels come in, Raphael and Gabriel. And Gabriel was more about the chronicling of what your experience has been, in a way to make sense of it for you. Our physical illnesses, they always are symbolic of something. And in a lot of cases, sometimes it's really hard to find that silver lining that's in it, but being able to go back and recognize what it has given you, whether it's fortitude, whether it's greater time to spend with your grandkids, but just looking at it from a global perspective. And it was so funny because I almost saw you, because I know you write, but this was almost like you doing a chronicle or a documentary of your life from this perspective specifically, because one of them said he can do this himself. So I'm going to pass that on to you for whatever that means. I'm hoping that helps.
Yeah, I've done it before. This one's taking a little bit longer.
Yeah. Well, they've got every confidence in you, and it is something about that connection and that understanding as to why it's still there. Okay.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Scott.
Hi, Scott.
I got an image for you as well. In this one, it's more like you just kind of need to spread your wings and share what it is that you're going through, because it's like you're not quite totally sharing, so therefore your light's not getting outside of you. So you just kind of really just need to open up your wings and just really take flight with this.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Scott, so what I got was the energy of Thoth coming through, which I found very significant because they're showing me the brain as well. But then I start seeing your body being put together in a bone structural connection, but it's not all humanoid skeleton. You get some animal, bones as well, which is confusing to me at first. But when I look at, the individual and the being, it shows me it again. And when they point to the animal pieces, it's just stating that it's the totem and the energy that you resist to those pieces. That's why you can't complete within this transition of the humanoid. So the physical still, in a sense, reverts back to those missing lifetimes, if you will, which is why it may be very apparent is why you have to have this completion. There's a lot of things that you're missing, but you're looking in the wrong areas concerning those missing pieces. It's not in the humanoid, if you will. You need to go further, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
So to take it to a bigger picture perspective for the audience as well. So the spirit of self-healing came in. And I've never worked with the spirit of self-healing. I've worked with the spirit of joy, spirit of love, spirit of light. And these spirits tend to be the highest level spirits that there are, spirit of compassion, for instance. But the spirit of self-healing was not one I was familiar with. And originally, the image that I was given was a being, a male being with sticks for crutches. And he showed me just holding them up and throwing them away. And he said, I'm the spirit of self-healing. This is all you need. So Scott, because you know how to merge, I would encourage you to merge with the spirit of self-healing and see if that speeds up your process or completes your process in the way that you are looking for and allowing for something even better, uh, because we know that's possible. And for the whole group here, the merge is part, and being the hollow bone is part of my book called The Hollow Bone of Healing. So everybody can learn how to do that for your highest good in healing. And I would encourage you to do that because I think it will take your consciousness to a higher realm where you start to see all possibilities are available to you. And you learn some ways to release any disbeliefs, misbeliefs, or anything that might be in your way of doing that. So anyway, that's the global perspective. And Scott, I hope that helps.
I hope so too. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Wow. I love the love seat because when you start hearing the same information given in all these different ways, it really goes in deep and it helps everybody, I believe. Okay. Sandy Harmer. Let's see, we got to get you unmuted. Do you need some help?
There we go.
Okay.
Okay, hi.
Hi there.
I'm calling in from Canada, so a little ways away from a lot of people. So my question is one, like I eat, live, and breathe spirituality, and I'm a practicing metaphysical minister, and I'm a medium and a teacher of spirituality. But I have this, as you know, it's really hard to get messages for yourself in terms of, direction and that. And but I feel this excitement all the time, but I don't know what the excitement is all about. And so my question is, if I could get some insight from the leaders here as to what you may think the direction and next direction for me, or what this is all about. I mean, I have oodles of ideas, but and constantly working, but there's something, and I don't know what it is. So I don't know, is that an okay question?
That's a really good okay question. I think you were on the first Global Masterclass, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
did you receive 2 words that described your gifts?
I did, and you know what? I can't remember them now. And
That happens.
that was such a wonderful meditation. Like, it was just like incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you got them. That's the important thing.
did.
You
I
have
did.
them. Okay. All right. We don't need to know them. I
No.
just wanted to make sure you knew them, but somewhere
Yeah.
in your heart, you've got them.
Somewhere they're here within my body, brain, and
Perfect. Within every cell in your body.
exactly.
Great. Thank you, Sandy. This is a perfect question. And I'm sure it won't take the team leaders long at all to step into that place of
Okay.
being the hollow bone.
Hi, Sandy.
Hi.
So right away, I love, when you do this, they just start talking before anybody's even done talking. They're like, I've got stuff to say. Angel Gabriel came in. Many people see, his color for me is green velvet. Like, if you could imagine green velvet, and he's bringing that in, and he's saying that the excitement is part of the building process. It may not be clear right now because it needs time to build, and you don't need to know what it is because all of a sudden it's going to happen. It's that flow of creation. Excitement is because you're so in tune with the energies and the universal energy, and they're saying you're excited because you feel it building, and just allow it to build in its authenticity, I guess is a good word for it, and allow it to come to you as organically as possible, because it's going to show up in your world, and you're going to be like, that's it. Oh, okay. I didn't need to do anything, because they're doing the work. They're building this foundation and this process for you that will just appear, or you'll get inspiration, or you'll get your messages through meditation or however you get them. And that's all that you need. You don't even need to know. Just, he's really asking to trust, of course, and to revel in that feeling of excitement. Because so often when we know it's a brain function to know what's happening, we take away that energy of the excitement and we start to put our own 3D agenda on what's happening. And if we stay in that excitement and just give thanks and gratitude to the excitement and the work that the universe, the angels, whomever are building this for you, and just give gratitude and allow that excitement to exist in your life and lift your vibration for it to come to its fullest fruition without having that 3D agenda on what it is or what it needs to be.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I got the sense and energy of faith coming through immediately, and they're trying to explain to me to just be politely and showing you how to really discern the difference in being spiritual and faithful, to just really trust this process and knowing that they are doing all the work and everything is going to be aligned. You just have to show up. But then I have a lot of the energy in my upper right shoulder part, and it keeps growing and growing and growing. And before you know it, looks like an armor piece, if you will. And it says that you are a great defender of man, meaning not just, you know, a man, if you will, but humanity. And that is to be, you know, looked at more with a fine-tooth comb, but just to really solidify yourself in the faith, okay? Because it's not about being the spirituality and, you know, living it, being it, trusting it, to pull along the faith along with that. And when we can do that, we literally get out of our way, and all the things you will need, people, places, things, and situations will be presented to you immediately. And it becomes so surreal because your life instantly changes. It can be that fast. But the key here is the energy of faith, just to really resonate that and really hold on to that, use it, you know, make it yours, live it.
Okay, thank you. It's very interesting you're saying my right shoulder, because I've been in physical pain for 3 days in my right clavicle shoulder, and using all kinds of like essential oils, infrared, trying to, so there's something there. It just came out of the blue. I woke up with it 2 days ago. So interesting.
And so what we get right now immediately is before you go to bed, just like 5-10 minutes before you sleep, you know, really contemplate, meditate, and just chew on a small tiny piece of clove, preferably on your right side, and then just disperse of it immediately, and just really cleanse with not so much it's a physical, it's a lot of the emotional of woulda, shoulda, coulda. Okay, I want to get out of that should have, could have, would have, and just really trust that process. You'll really understand that we aren't not so much in control, but we are in so much in control, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, thank you.
And blessings and friends to you, Miss Sandy.
Hello. Okay,
Hi.
so Sandy, I got for you, which is kind of odd because Ayla was mentioning, you know, the right shoulder, and I'm like, well, why is the tetrahedron in there? So that would probably explain a lot of the clearing, but it's done in such that you're climbing the point, so that way you can really just shine your light out. So as Cynthia was saying, that this is like a building, so you're working up towards that, and they are kind of helping clear out what needs to be removed first before you can get to that top point.
Okay. Florence, I just want to say, all I can see the drawing was actually looked like a red triangle to me. I couldn't see the other colors.
Oh yeah, it's a red triangle with a kind of an orange person with yellow lights coming out from like the top of their head. And there's 7 of them.
Okay. Because it's interesting, the triangle, because I'm in the midst of writing a book with 2 other women, and we're called the Sacred Triangle. And it's something to do with the title of our book. It has to do with Angel Zadkiel and Azrael. So
Love it.
So I do too. Thank you. Gotta love those angels.
Yes. Well, even before I had turned off my video, going into that sacred place, there was this light coming behind you, and it was as if it were literally scooping you up. And where I saw you travel, I believe you do a great deal of astral travel, because I saw you standing before a council, and you were talking, and I believe that even though you say you don't know what's next, you actually do know. You just don't know consciously. Um, and so, being able to walk in that faith and trust is absolutely true. You are in perfect hands. As I was thinking about this, it reminded me, one of my favorite contemporary Christian artists. He's writing a song about the next phase of his life and about trust in the divine. And one of the lines is, I can feel it being pushed by bigger hands. You embrace
Oh,
me and believe in who I am. So I'm going to leave that with you, because you're
okay.
surrounded with so much loving energy and support, and you're being guided. There's no way you can step off path, because you've got a whole council working with you.
Oh, thank you. I just got goosebumps when you said that, because I work with the Council 12 all the time. So blessings. Thank you.
Wow. So to take this to a more global level, and this is actually perfect for so many people on the call and listening to the replay. So the image of a tree, so here's the trunk and here's all the branches.
Uh-huh.
And each of us is a tree, right? And the name of the tree is whatever your spiritual gifts are. And so you receive two of those umbrella terms. And I think just what came through for you was teacher and spiritual leader, and you may have a lot of other names too, and a lot of other umbrellas, but those are two main ones for your tree. And all these different branches are the different ways, and there's lots more branches than just the 5 here, but these are all the different ways in which you use those gifts to share with the world. So like, what are the classes that you teach, and how are you a spiritual leader, and what ways do you do this and that and the other thing? It doesn't matter what you do. It really doesn't matter. What matters is that you're on the right tree, right? So as long as you're teaching, as long as you're a spiritual leader, it doesn't matter how you do that, just that you're doing it, right? And
Right.
so then that lessens the pressure of, oh my God, I've got to come up with something. No, you don't, because as Cynthia said, you already know it intuitively, and it will be revealed to you. That's what that excitement is about, that you're already feeling it, you're already tapping into it. You just haven't, your left brain hasn't figured out the how and what yet. It will, because that's going to come actually in from the heart and the right brain, right? Which is how it all works. And so as long as you're doing your thing on your tree, whether it's teaching and spiritual leadership and whatever else, then it doesn't really matter how you are sharing that gift. Now, what will be helpful is to continue to feed it with love, to continue to just say, how may I serve? And just be open to receiving whatever comes in. It may come in ways you didn't expect. It may come in from a client who says, I could really use something like this. And you go, oh, I could do that. And then you invite 5 others, and now you've got a class. You know what I mean? It can come that easily, and it probably will. And for everybody on the call, I would say that is probably what will happen. Somebody will say, well, I could really use this. And you go, yeah, well, all right, I'm volunteering. I can do that. And there you go. This is how you shift your gifts. It really is a lot easier than we make it out to be. And you're only having to do one at a time. You don't have to shift all of your gifts. You just shift one, just one. You start with one, and then that just kind of has a life form of its own. So I hope that helps.
It does. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. Blessings.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, now you're seeing the benefit of being in the audience and how you can benefit from everybody. So we have one more person to go through. So this person is Heidi.
Hi.
Hey, there she is.
How are you, Phoenix?
Good. You look
Uh,
wonderful.
what?
You look wonderful.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. I'm on the coast of Oregon in a little teeny tiny town. You know, Phoenix, my story. So we did that book together. And since my husband died, my whole life has been different. I still do my self-publishing business and all of that, but I've been transitioning into intuitive coaching. And Randy's the one who told me that we're all vacationing angels, and he told me that, you know, we're the spiritual frontliners right now holding that space for the planet. And I take my role as a leader in this community since I started doing meetups before I even knew what a meetup was. I was doing meetups, and now I get, 50 people in a meetup is crazy around here because the town is only 2,800 people. And so I've seen my progression. I love what I'm doing. I do spiritual music. I guess my question is really how to deepen. I'm very aware that the spiritual deepening is the jumping off point for everything else. So when I thought about a question I wanted to ask, it wasn't, well, will I find more love in my life with a partner? Will I, you know, it wasn't a particular element. It was how to deepen the levels of my gifts, my specific gifts, to develop the rest of my life, you know, all the areas of my life. I'm spending all my time alone right now. For 5 weeks, I've been alone. And so it's been a perfect opportunity. And I'm just wondering if there are things that I could focus on more intently to heighten the process and deepen it more quickly. I feel like I'm ready for a huge shift. I am in a shift. My future self I haven't caught up with my future self. So I understand when Sandy said that, you know, that's why I wrote that message about writing a book, because I felt like you were dialoguing already with your future self. You're in that energy of your future self, and the excitement of that is so unbelievable, but then you haven't caught up with it. And so that's my question.
Got it. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Really, really good question.
So Heidi, the first energy that came to me was the spirit of a Kokopelli. You know, I used to live in Sedona, and there are all these little illustrations, you know, a little guy walking around with a musical instrument, you know, and there's a legend and a story behind the Kokopelli. Some of it is flattering, some of it isn't. We'll stay away from the more racy aspects of that story, but the point is, you know, wherever he went, he spread love and joy. And immediately too, I got the spirit of wind. It's about dispersal of this, because they even showed me a weather vane of you spreading your message, spreading your reach in all different directions. A lot of times we say that the answer is actually in the question. And as I was listening to you talk about the meetups and about, having the number of people in that meetups, as if, that was a surprise to you, but no, that's exactly what you're supposed to be doing. And about dispersing what you do, dispersing your light to farther and greater reaches. So, because as you do that, those gifts are going to deepen, and so will that clarity that comes with it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, do you know, I mean, the Kokopelli has that like pan flute, right? And of course, I'm a flautist, so that's just validation for both of us.
Oh, actually, so am I. So yeah,
You
that's
are
awesome.
really? Oh,
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah. I haven't been played in quite a while, but that's my favorite instrument. And, shows
Well,
up.
actually, that's important because I feel like when I am doing the work, it's with other people that it deepens my own awarenesses and progression. And so it's, I guess that's part of the reason this time is challenging, because so much of that has been put on hold. And yet I'm very aware that there are other aspects of being that are coming to fruition. So thank you for that.
Oh, you're
It
welcome.
reminds me to practice every day.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks.
I received the energy of Jesus coming in immediately, and what I was shown is just the skies, but it was specifically a dark sky with all the stars, and just explaining that you need to go more celestial for that deepness that you're looking for. You're still looking here on the planet, but it's beyond that, it's out there. So to just start like researching more in the celestial realms, and that will help some of the completion come to fruition for you.
So can you be more specific what that means when you say celestial realms? Are you talking like astrological? Are you talking?
When I'm seeing it, it's not like an astrological or zodiac sense. It's more about different life form, different connection, different consciousness attachment, if you will, in the celestial realm.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. Thank you.
You're most welcome.
Hello, Heidi.
Hi, Grace.
First of all, I love Oregon. I spent a lot of time there.
Oh, yeah, you have to see me.
You know, the spirit of moose came in.
Moose?
It was really weird because I'm expecting angels, and this big horned moose just strolls in as like, and very somber and very, he brought in that sense of connecting with the rhythms of the earth, connecting with that shamanic energy of the earth, of whether it's, and then, you know, and then they showed me the forest, the trees, the trees that just have so much within them. They don't need to, they already have deep roots in a sense. And that's really all they showed me, is that connection to the cycles, the rhythms, and the shamanic energy of the earth itself, and to go, like almost like they showed me you going into the forest and communing with the tree and the energy that's there, because there's so much more there than what we think is there, and they have so many things to teach us and to tell us, and that and they have a natural rhythm of life and a natural flow. They don't need to, they just allow the deepening versus needing or wanting it to go deeper, if that makes sense. That was really strange. I've never talked to moose before, but he's very apparent.
Well, of course, I have a primal fear of the forest. Yeah, I live by the ocean. It's just a second away from my house, and but I came into the world with just this lifetime, with this absolute terror of being in the forest. And so it makes perfect sense that I'm being guided to look at that and deal with it in a different way. I don't think it necessarily means going into the forest yet, but I have been doing that and exploring that, so it makes perfect sense. Yeah, but I'm going to talk to the moose a little bit, see what else he has to say. That's very cool. Thank you.
He'll protect you. He'll guide you.
Yeah,
He'll protect
right.
you in your
Right.
healing.
I mean, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Thanks.
Thank you.
Well, Heidi, well, when I was doing my drawing, I had a jumping spider jump on me. So he wanted to be here too. So just to take that leap. I also got the number 7 when I was doing your drawing. I'm not sure what that means for you, but then it kind of like a heart as a sunflower. So just kind of like shine your light out, because you've got so many different people that you can influence and lead.
Mm.
But you need to kind of take that leap according to the spider. So
Okay. Thank you for that. Thank you all very much. I'm very grateful.
Well, and also spiders are about writing your story, so that there's another tie-in, right?
There's probably another book in me, right?
I'm thinking there's at least one. And, you know, as you, and this is probably true for everybody, as you expand into meeting the needs of as many people as possible, because that is why we're here. The online world is absolutely something we all have to broaden our reach through. And, you know, your meetup groups can be all done virtually, you know, and you're probably doing some of that already, or maybe dabbling with the idea of it, but it also can go further. And your particular angels and your one particular guide that has your back in absolutely everything would like to see you do more online, like Facebook Lives or Google Lives or YouTube Lives or whatever, you know, just find a live platform out there and start sharing your gifts in a big, big, big way. Share your writings, share your flute, share your inspiration, invite people to share theirs, and just keep giving in that way so that people resonate with your energy. They come to love you because you love them and you're loving everything that you're doing. And that is just one big love fest that exudes and expands. And it's what starts to change our world. And that's just your bottom line platform. And where you go from there is more books, writing, flute, you know, all the creative expressions that you have. Plus, there's an element of teaching coming through for you, and it probably will be in the lines of mediumship if you haven't yet developed that. So, yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that, all of you. Thanks.
Thank you, Heidi. And thank you, everybody who had the courage to be on the love seat today. Now you know that it really is a place of love, and that's why we call it the love seat, not the hot seat. And I'm so grateful that we changed the name of it so that it's better suited for what we actually do. And if you didn't get chosen today, you can see that, wow, you know, you still benefited in so many ways from this, and how beautiful is that? So let's see, I think I just unmuted somebody. No, sorry. So there will be another opportunity on Thursday if you want to join us again. 5 more chances, you know, to either get chosen for the love seat or just to receive the benefits of everything that comes through in that loving state of being. Wow, so powerful. So yeah, I put in some links at the very beginning, but let me see, I've got to do everybody here. Okay, let me put in these links again. So just so you know, we do have a Facebook group that's just private, just for those of us who have signed up on this call. And I'm really hoping that we get more like sharing from that, like sharing your best takeaways from the first Global Masterclass and the second one, to encourage people to provide that community, that safe community where we feel comfortable and know that we're not alone, right? And that we're supporting each other as you're asking for support if you need support. So please join us. You just have to click ask to join, and then I'll get you in as soon as I can. And the other thing is for a free call. And that free call is with me, but it's possible I will give you a link for a free call with one of the team leaders to also follow up. And in fact, I may just put that in the replay link email that I'm sending out, so that if you want to contact one of the team leaders, particularly to ask for support or ask questions in something that maybe you're looking for, we are here for you. So that's what it's for. And so let's see here. What was the third thing I was supposed to ask? Or right? Oh, thank you. I forget now. There was another thing I was going to mention, but anyway, you'll get it in the replays. So anyway, you can join us again on Thursday if you'd like that opportunity to raise your vibration and receive the frequencies and universal messages that apply to all of us. And then, of course, the following week, we have our soul purpose activation, which is really going to be powerful. So for those of you that have been kind of waiting for something to happen, that may be the time if it doesn't happen before then. It's always perfect, though. There's a divine timing for everybody. So I thank you so much for being on the call live. I thank you so much for those of you listening to the replay. And I look forward to seeing you soon in whatever format that is. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful, blessed day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.